back to News Geelong, Wednesday edition, as we turn to the action-packed world of Geelong sport and our own flying hawk, Nathan Curry. Good evening, Nathan.
Thanks very much, Rolla. I'm down here at the Geelong Football Club to catch up with the Cats coach, Chris Scott, after their big one-point victory over St Kilda on Friday night. Now, Scotty, Joel Selwood obviously had a pretty large injury to his head. What's the update on him?
We'll back our doctors completely with that one, with Joel. I mean, he's already put his hand up. I think he'd put his hand up 15 minutes after the game. He's that sort of bloke. So to an extent, we'll disregard everything he says and just back our medical staff.
And what are they saying to you at this stage?
Oh, they're saying we'll have to assess him later in the week. They certainly haven't ruled him out. None at all. And that's the difficult part. It's really hard for the layperson to see someone who's so clearly concussed and affected straight after the incident. And the footage is pretty graphic as well. But then he was on a bike the next sort of 36 hours with absolutely no ill effects at all. Memory was fine, no headaches, no disrupted sleeping. He's got a fat lip and he looks a bit ugly, but besides that, he's fine, which in a way it makes it more difficult for the doctors because they're trying to find some symptoms that don't exist at the moment. So now, having said all that, we'll be extremely cautious with our approach with him. We would be with all our players, but that's why, I mean, I think the concussion sort of, I'll call it a concussion rule, but I don't think anything's different. We will always back our medical staff and they would never put our players in harm's way.
Well, Scotty, some other players could come back into the side this week. What can you tell us about Cameron Ling, James Podsiadly, Paul Chapman, Shannon Burns? No,
Cameron's preparation pre his hamstring injury in March, sort of February, was better than anyone's at the club in terms of his aerobic conditioning at least. So he's got a really solid base behind him. And Chappie actually had a pretty good preparation as well. He just had a couple of minor things come up as we started playing games. So match conditioning was an issue for him. We thought he could have played on the weekend. We decided to think a little bit more long term. And he was exceptional in the VFL, so he's ticked every box and is available for selection. So the fact that we're playing on a big ground at Subi against a good running side won't impact on our decision making.
Finally, Scotty, how did the boys pull up after the big match on Friday?
We were wrapped with our players' conditioning. Our GPS numbers from the weekend were up across the board on virtually all games last year, and that's a reflection of the pre-season we've had. We've put more work into the players, and you know, it's your strength sometimes is your weakness. The fact that Geelong's been such a good side over such a long period of time means that it's hard to get that volume into the players. So the right decisions were made over the last couple of years, but this year we had a chance to put a bit more work in, and pleasingly, it's been reflected in our output.
Thanks for your time, Scotty, and we'll catch up with Chris Scott again on Friday night. But now it's time for John Dunn, our man who covers all the latest racing action down here in Geelong.
Racing returned to the synthetic here at Geelong last Friday. And one of the first trainers to embrace the synthetic 3 years ago was Cranbourne trainer Ricky Maund. And he couldn't wait to get back on it, with blazing glory in the first race.
Down to the 200, got away from By the Rumour, the Water Bomber slowly getting there, but not quickly enough because Blazing Glory's off. Mr. Particular runs to second. It's Blazing Glory clear, 4 or 5 lengths from Mr. Particular, the Water Bomber, then Mr. Vocalate, but Blazing Glory had this one on the turn, and it bolts in by 4.
Trainer Heath Connors, who recently moved his operation down here to Geelong, well, he celebrated the return to the synthetic when the very consistent Bell Rhythm scored a big win in race number 2.
And Rodder now goes for it, and it cruises up to the lead. Statler just battles in behind, but it's Bell Rhythm with 150 left to go. Rodder now gets to work, gets away from Hellion, and comes away for an effortless win. It's Bell Rhythm by 2.
When Leviathan owner Lloyd Williams produces a horse in a maiden plate, well, it's usually long odds on. So those in the know would have been pleasantly surprised when Agent scored at the nice odds of $3.50 in the Schweppes maiden plate.
And he's given full bore and he quickly dashed to the front. Agent open up by Cassar. The Zero tries to stick with him, then followed by Barely and Angel. But down towards the 100 metres, it's Agent. And Agent's come away to beat the Zero by about 2.5 lengths.
A drop back in distance enabled the Kelvin Burke trained 4-year-old Perdo Flamenco to return to something like his best form in the main race of the afternoon.
He's had a kick down on the inside, then followed by a Rebel Truce now starting to run on in behind. It's Ripley's and Porto Flamenco, and Rebel Truce is coming through in the centre. Ripley's has gone as Porto Flamenco takes over, and Porto Flamenco now coming away. Porto Flamenco goes on to score from Rebel Truce. And
of course, the meeting today was tinged with a touch of sadness when veteran jockey Neville Wilson was unseated from his mount in race number 2, injuring his spine. And, well, his career may well be over. We'll know in a few weeks' time. And if it is, congratulations, Nifty, on a job well done.
Thanks very much, JD. Well, now that racing's done for this week, let's head out to Avalon Speedway.
Jeff Lee starting to stretch out, takes the white flag. Reek, the 12 in second. Nelson for third. Tillman. No one else can catch him at this stage. Down the back straight. Jeff Lee takes it out. There's the checkers. Reek for second.
Thanks very much, Gavin. Well, that's it for sport tonight. I'll be back on Friday night, but until then, as always, it's back to you, Rulo.
Thank you, Nathan. Another 6-pointer. And now for the latest weather information. A very good evening to sparkling Lani Salathiel. Good evening, Lani.
Thank you, Graham. As our warm autumn weather continues in and around Geelong, let's look at the week ahead. For tomorrow, Thursday will be a partly cloudy day, some scattered showers around, and a top of 18. For Friday, we'll see a partly cloudy day again, some isolated showers developing during the evening and an expected top temperature of 20. For the weekend, Saturday will be a cloudy day with some isolated showers and a top of 18. For Sunday, we'll see a partly cloudy day, some isolated showers developing later in the day again with a top of 19. For the start of next week, Monday will be a cloudy day, some isolated showers with a top of just 17. For Tuesday, it will be a partly cloudy day, some isolated showers clearing during the morning and a top of 21. Wednesday will be a sunny day with a top temperature of 19. And today we had a cloudy day, some scattered showers around Geelong and a top of just 19. So a cool week ahead, and that's the weather for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and it's back to you, Graham.
Thank you, Lani. And thank you for being with us on News Geelong. To all our friends at Bowen Health, take your time and smell the flowers and get well soon. From all the team at News Geelong, have a pleasant evening and a very good night.